Good day, everyone. Welcome to Websites at Work, the 4 elements of a results-driven website and a critique of selected sites webinar. I'm Steve Etzler with Business Development Institute. BDI, established in New York City in 2001, produces thought leadership programs on the latest trends, issues, and opportunities facing marketers and communicators. First, I'd like to thank our speakers, Gabriel Shaoulian, CEO and founder, Blue Fountain Media, and John Gelberg, Chief Content Officer, Blue Fountain Media. And of course, thank you to all of our attendees for investing your valuable time with us today. We have a very simple agenda. The webinar will run for 1 hour. The first part of the agenda will include a presentation on the essential elements of a results-driven website. The second part will consist of live critiques of websites previously submitted by members of the audience. And the last part will include a live question and answer seminar with you, the audience. We strongly encourage your questions, so please submit them throughout the GoToWebinar platform. You'll notice a questions feature on it. This webinar is being recorded, and you may access the recording after the event. For those of you on Twitter, please use the hashtag #BDI, B as in boy, D as in David, I as in Ivan, so we may all follow the conversation online. So with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Gabriel Shaoulian, CEO and founder, Blue Fountain Media. Gabriel?
Thanks, Steve, and thank you everyone for joining us. Steve mentioned, my name's Gabriel. I am the CEO and founder of Blue Fountain Media. I have with me today, joining me, so I don't make this sound too monotone, is John Gilbert. He is our head of communications here. Let me tell you briefly what Blue Fountain is, who we are, what we do. We are a results-driven website design and online marketing company. What that means is that when we work on a website, we do the marketing for it, we look at the numbers, we look at the conversion rates, we look at the stickiness factors, repeat visits, we look at the bounce rates. So we treat it as a business, and we measure the results, and based on that, we know how to grow it. As mentioned, today's discussion is about really how to make your website effective. And I've been doing this with my So let's start. I have in front of me here a PowerPoint that I'm going to briefly go through. And let's take it from the top. What's involved in building an online business? And when you ask that question, it's a very simple question. You ask that to most people that come to us here that want to work with us. Well, how do you start an online business? How do you grow an online business? And what we realize is that there's 2 components. One is the marketing. The job of the marketing is if you want an online business, you got to drive traffic to it. The second is the website. This is what converts the traffic. If you have a wonderful website but no one's going to it, well, it's pretty useless. Then again, if you are spending a lot of money on your marketing, and your website is not converting, that's wasted marketing dollars. So you must have a good marketing tactic and a good website to really follow through in the marketing dollars. And I'm here to talk about today the second part. Just to touch base, though, on the first part, marketing, we know there's different kinds of marketing. There is SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. That's when your site comes up organically on Google. There's pay-per-click. There's social media marketing. There's banner advertising, there's retargeting, there's newsletters, all sorts of different online marketing methods. And really, we find that knowing which ones to use together will drive you the best results. Let's jump to what makes a website effective. There are 4 key elements to making a site effective, and when you think about it, they're pretty much common sense. The first one is you have 2 kinds of users coming to your site. Those that know who you are and what you do, and those that don't. For those that don't, the first most important aspect is your messaging. don't tell them welcome to my site and here's who we are. You know, you want to answer their question right away, because after all, what is the most commonly used button on the internet is the back button. It's used far more than any other button. People love pressing that. Everybody has ADD online, right? So they will literally give you a few seconds to answer their need why they're on your site. And if you can't address that, they will leave your site, because Google has many, many other results for them to go through. On a frequent basis. You don't want them coming to your site once and just leaving, especially because we find out that most people, the first time they come, they're not ready to make a decision to use your services or buy your products. It's usually in the second or third visit that they do. So it's very important you have features on your site that brings those people back. And the fourth one is the social media component, or the virality of the site, and that is using those people as marketing vehicles to get them to get other people, to refer other people to your services and or products. You could do this by incorporating social media factors into your site. Now, let's look at some examples here. We have what we consider items that every website should measure. And you could, by the way, install Google Analytics on your site if you haven't already. It's a free tool. It's a wonderful tool. It will tell you where your users are coming from, how long they stay, what pages in your site they're on. You know, one thing I find incredible is that I could go up to any store manager and I say, hey, people walking through your store, what products sell the most? And they will tell you to the detail. You know, 9 to 11, I have an average of this people walking to my store. This shelf goes the fastest. This product sells. If that product doesn't sell, I'll move it to the top shelf. They will know it inside and out. Ask them what pages of your site a user goes to, and they could look at you clueless. What's your bounce rate? They'll ask you, what's a bounce rate? It's critical to know this information, because you should know how people come to your site and leave it without, you know, going to another page or doing something. That's called a bounce rate. That's the same thing as a person walking into your store and walking out. You should know how often people come back to your site. Where are they coming from? What pages do they see? If you have a page on your site and you know that no one's going there, maybe you should change it around. Knowing user behaviors is critical, and that's why you need Google Analytics, at least that, installed. Now, I'd like to show you an example. We have a wonderful client. Her name is Sunny Anderson, very talented cook on the Food Network. Her current site looks like the one on the left. And you know, it's a pretty site. But let's see how we could improve it. Number one, if you look at the site on the left, it tells you who she is, has her picture, but there's no messaging. Let's look at the one. To the user is that this is a site that complements the offline marketing. What do I mean by that? If you look at a cooking show, the background looks like this. So we took elements of the offline and brought it online. At the same time, we want users to come back, so we're having, you know, the different tabs of the week, updated fresh content to increase that stickiness, bringing people back. And that's what makes a site effective. By the way, that is why Facebook is so valuable. Facebook is not valuable because it has 500 million or so members. It's valuable because each of those members come back multiple times in the course of a day or a week. Because let's face it, anybody could buy a billboard in Times Square and you'll get lots of visitors. But if they're not coming back to your site, that means something is wrong. So let's start with an example. And some people have submitted their websites for critique. I thank you for doing this. Before I get into it, just so you know, this is constructive criticism. So the first one we're going to look at is a crime scene and trauma specialist site. Here's the things you guys should know. If I'm at work and that audio comes on without me allowing it to press play, I'm going to leave your site right away. Here's a good rule. Never have audio, whether it's music or an intro, coming on without the user having that control. If you look at our website, we have a video. If you click on it, it will open up and there'll be music. It asks you again, and there'll be music, but it doesn't open up right away when you go to our site. Whereas you can imagine if you're at work and this comes up, the audio right away, like, uh-oh, I might get in trouble. So one of the rules we always tell our clients, don't put auto music, anything with volume on right away. Give the user the control and put it in here. The second thing, if I go back to the home page, is if you look here, the home page is similar to the sub page. Now here's the thing. You got a few seconds to know who these guys are. Who do they serve? Do they serve the government? Do they serve small business? Do they serve individuals? One thing we could learn from Dell is that when you go to their site, they segment their homepage based on the audience and their needs. So right now, I don't know exactly who these guys, why would I go here? And I understand you could watch the video, but don't count on that. So, and also, every page I go to, it's the same banner. It stops providing value. Remember, this is your marketing tool. If you're showing the same messaging, the same banner on every page, it's just wasting space. Show different value on different pages. If you are targeting the general public, testimonials could help. Case studies can help. Showing how you've, provided a certain situation, the solution would help. And here's another thing. Try not to put paragraphs on your homepage. Try to answer the person's questions directly why they came there. Again, going back to our site, we don't have a big paragraph here. What we have is big words so you read it, followed by a call to action. We then show you some of the clients that we work with to gain your confidence. We then highlight sections of our services. We show you the rewards. We give you a client testimonial. Now, let me talk about this for a second. A lot of people on the phone today have clients, and a lot of times they tell us, I don't want to highlight my client because my competitor may go to them. Your competitors will go to them regardless. Your competitors are already your clients are already hearing from them all the time. If your clients are happy with you, you should have no worries about putting them on your site, and that's what we do. We even put their name and their position. We don't bombard you with paragraph after paragraph. Notice how we broke it up. It's almost like a magazine or a newspaper. And again, just look at the video. It doesn't start playing right away. You got to press on play. So a lot of times, you may be an expert in what you do. Your team may be the best in their field. The person doesn't know that. They don't know who you are. So it's very important you build that credibility. If you have any certifications, you show that. And there's one trick you could do. If you have people that come to your site often, but they know you, you may not want to show them the same home page or landing page as those that don't. So based on their IP address, you could show them different messages. Let's go to the next one here. John, I've been talking a lot. Why don't you jump in with me on this one?
Well, again, what I'm looking at, what Gabriel was talking about before was messaging. Show your value proposition immediately when someone comes to the site or you're going to lose them. I'm starting to read, it's a full-service marketing firm dedicated, and you start going down, and there's nothing specific here. If I go to a site, I want to see a specific client, a specific service, something that tells me immediately what this company does. Now, you may do amazingly good work, but I'm not getting that when I visit. And if I'm looking As Gabe said, you go to the back button. Nothing about this compels me to go to the About page, to the Team page, to the Services page. Your services is usually your most important. That's what people are looking for. So you said, what do these people do? So you get to this page, and again, it's a huge list here. You need to highlight what you know what the strongest part of your business is. Highlight that. Then give a laundry list. But give people a clue as to exactly what you do, who you help, and what your value proposition is.
Also, I want to show everybody one thing we've done is we use a program called Crazy Egg. It's a heat map that shows us people click on. We realize when you come to our site, you don't want to know about us right away. You want to know who's our portfolio. You want to know who's our clients, what are our services before and after. The last thing our audience wants to know is about us. So one thing I suggest to most companies is this is your most important thing here, your services. Not news. That's why you're bringing them there. And the home page, put a little icon or make the logo your home page. People are coming there because they want you to answer a need that they have. And they're going to want to know who you work with. They want to know the industries you serve. They want to know your case studies. They want to know if you got testimonials. This is what you should really highlight on your home page. And also notice there's no phone number here. There's no call to action. Again, going back. We have a call to action called request a quote. There's a phone number, nice, you could see it, and it's repeated on the bottom. Look at the footer section. You could take some hints from our site. So if you have a longer page, you could do that. The news section, look, I got to tell you, if these people, RMG, could be wonderful people. They could be very good at what they do. But it doesn't look like they put much effort into their site. So if I don't know who they are, if I look at this, I'm like, they just kind of skimmed through this. Maybe they're not taking it very seriously. Make it look better. If we all learn from Apple, Apple's success is due to their design, the user interface. People like working with it. This, to me, I mean, a kid in high school could put this together. And I want to work with a major company that's going to bring my company, it's going to bring me results. That's what I'm looking for. So I want to trust someone that takes it seriously. And people judge you by your website if they don't know who you are. Okay, so again, just a few highlights. Have a home icon. Don't need a big home link there. 2, have a phone number, have a call to action, request a quote, or request an appointment, or something to draw them in to capture them. 3, don't put a paragraph on your homepage. Put big words that really gets across your point, your messaging right away. And your navigation, if you have a sales team, ask him, how do you pitch your services? If your services starts with about us, and that's how you pitch your sales, then make the second one about us. But if it's about your services, followed by case studies, followed by clients, you may want to consider doing that. Let's go on to the next one. John, why don't you hit this one off too?
Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, now this site is a very good example of a company that is using an inexpensive template, but does so to the point where it really reflects badly on the company and the product. If you look here at the Welcome to the Leaf Catcher website, you lose the words because they get buried in the leaves. If you scroll down a little bit, if you could scroll down on this, it's just sitting in the middle. This site is telling me that the person who has made this site hasn't, even been willing to make a small investment in the business. And your website, no matter how small a company you are or how small your budget is really a reflection on you and your products. You're asking people in this case to spend approximately $30 on the product, and it's telling me, do I want to send my money to this company? If you go to the details page, I think you might have to try that one more time. Again, this looks like it was put together in about 3 seconds. It's sloppy with the white coming out the bottom. This is not a company, one, that I would want the product, or two, I would be very comfortable ordering from and giving a credit card or other financial information. As a matter of fact, if you go to the order page here, Again, as a consumer, I'm looking at this. First of all, the product does not seem to be available yet. And then I look at this template, and I am not going to trust a company that doesn't put the money or time in with my name, my address, my zip code, my telephone number, and more importantly, my money. So that, this is, if you're going to go into any online business, you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, but you need to spend enough to give your site, your brand, the quality that you want to.
Their name is Bonobos. They were started by a talented designer. And what I want to mention about this company is what they say is free shipping and ninja service. If you're not satisfied, they have immediate customer service that speaks to you, not some voicemail and not some team in India. Right here in New York, they will talk to you. They will express back, just like Zappos does, they will give you, an immediate exchange. They guarantee that you're satisfied with their products. I can't explain how important this is if you're doing e-commerce and you don't have a brick and mortar store. So if you're like the Gap, you can get away with a few things. But if you don't have a brick and mortar store, you need to ensure the customer, hey, call us. We provide money back guarantee. We have people that pick up the phone when you call us. So this is an excellent example of a company that's doing that. So don't just put the phone number. Get assurances made. Let's go on to the next one. This is the Texas Medical Association. And I looked at this site earlier today, and I read lifelong learning opportunities. Okay. Standing up for Texas doctors, helping doctors, with their practices. It sounds like this is some kind of service to provide physicians. And I'm assuming that their physicians or their clients know exactly who they are and how they help them. But as a first-time visitor, again, the messaging, what is it you do? Who is your target audience? How do you help me? And don't expect me to spend 5 minutes online reading everything, because my phone is ringing, my person is coming to my room, I'm distracted. It's just like an elevator pitch. You really give them a few seconds of attention, and if you don't grab their attention in that few seconds, they're out of there. And don't think just because you're a well-known brand, that's not the case. That's very much the case. We've learned that with big companies, very big companies made that mistake. And one example is what happened with Nike and Zappos. Nike said, we're a big brand, people will just come to us to buy. Zappos took over Google. You Googled a kind of tennis sneaker, they took you to a landing page about a tennis sneaker. So they had a higher repeat visit rate and they had higher conversion rates. So don't take your brand saying people know who we are, what we do, so it's okay.
Current members for new members. Bring people in. Give them a reason to take the next step. By looking at the site, again, I'm trying to figure out what exactly they're trying to do and who the constituent audience is.
Right. And SEO is a big part of this. And I think this site, the way it's coded, if you look up here in the title bar, there's nothing in the title bar. For example, if you go to, you want to make sure that you put your title tags, meta tags, all that stuff in there. So if you go to ours, you see a title bar, it says New York Website Design Company and Marketing. That's why if you Google Website Design Company, we're #1. Versus here, there's nothing up here. So there's no SEO been done on your website. That leads me to think something else. There's not much online reputation management being done. And for those of you that may not have a website or not take it seriously, you're opening yourself up to a can of worms. If someone could go online and post something for you, it'll come up on Google. Whether it's true or not, it'll come up. Google doesn't determine what the person's posting is right. They don't care about that. They just say the page is optimized. In fact, I had a client walk in over a year ago, and they didn't have a web presence, and someone posted false information, and it almost costed them a big contract. So make sure you optimize your website and optimize the pages for your employees if you want people, when they type in your name, to see what you want them to see about you versus what other people are saying about you. I'm going to go to the next page here. This is the Meridian Group. They put some nice information like increased performance, downloads now, 7 mistakes, and they are trying to get you to sign up to give you some kind of white paper. Few items here. There's, again, the messaging is kind of hard to read. The blog, the colors, too much content thrown on the page. Like, I'm not going to spend the time to read all this. Also, the way it's coded, it just doesn't look right. It looks like they couldn't hire a professional coder to do a nice job for them. So they took some shortcuts. As a consumer, it tells me, well, you really couldn't afford to get it done right. You want to show a very professional presence, and your website is your presence to the world.
I mean, one point in terms of messaging here is that I took the time to go into the Why Meridian page and the Who We Work With page, and on those I found unbelievable resources, great offers being made, an amazing group of clients. But I made no, if I wasn't doing an analysis, I don't think I would have gotten to those pages based on the home page. If you show your great clients on the home page, if you answer the question, why Meridian, which is the whole reason you're trying to draw people to your site, you've got great answers on the site. They just happen to be buried.
Exactly. And, going back to what John said, is you don't want to give this much information. You do want to show maybe a few logos of your clients, highlight some of maybe a testimonial, highlight information. Your home page is a hallway for the user to come to and decide where they want to go to. And colors are very important. I usually try to stay away from gray and blues, blues overlapping gray, because it looks more corporate, almost like a DMV form, and people don't like that. You want to keep, like here is okay. You want to keep a dark text and a white background. Also, your main links here, those are okay, but if you do want people to call you, the call to action, you should highlight that there. I see you have some stuff down here, but again, you got to build the credibility. So this is a site called Bitsoft. Website designing, database development. I know immediately what it is they do. They have a rotating imagery here. They have a free quote portfolio. They got their 2 calls to action. You may want to show a couple of logos of your clients again. You may want to put your phone number up here. If you have anything build credibility, I would put it down here. Examples being, have you been in the press? Have you won any awards? Are you a speaker anywhere? You just want to highlight what differentiates you. And if I could go to your portfolio, I suggest you get away from job shadows. People want to see your work and have it more clean in that sense. If I click on work, it takes me away from your website. You don't want to do that. Keep people on your website. Next here we have Viadon. Interesting site, looking at it, if you make the effort to read about it, you see cooperate with us. Graphics, advertising, web design. So kind of highlighting, kind of getting a message of what they do, but I don't see why them. They don't answer the question, why us? They're not highlighting any of their clients, any testimonials. They have references. You got to present your website like you do a sales pitch. Like, what is references? Are those your clients? Are these people you've done any work for? If so, do you have case studies for them? Some links. This is old school. You want to really update this. John, you have the feedback on this site?
Pretty much the same thing on a different basis in terms of messaging again. If you do not have strong in-house copywriters, I highly encourage you to always get the best writers available, because if there are grammatical errors on a site, if something is not well written, that really shows poorly on you, especially if you are in the communications or media business. Like, for example, here, we are specialized in outsourcing for online, as opposed to just saying, we specialize in outsource. I mean, it's a small thing, but it's the first thing that comes to your eye when you come to this site, and it gives a bad impression.
And just to let you guys know, this is very important to real companies that are sourcing for the right vendors. If they really pay attention to stuff. Small businesses, maybe not as much, but the bigger companies, if they see that you have grammar mistakes or you're not communicating well, they're not